Hello everyone, welcome to this next session. In this session I'm going to talk about the second unit of MMPC-20. So this second unit is concepts and theories of business ethics. So I will talk about different concepts and theories related to business ethics. So the first topic, that is introduction. So what is business ethics and how we can use business ethics to make better decisions. So that's what we are going to talk about. So here given, in our personal and professional lives, we are fundamentally faced with three kinds of dilemmas. Okay, in our personal and professional lives, three kinds of dilemmas we face. The first, that is right versus wrong. That is the easiest to face and that we can easily choose. For example, if one decision is right and another one is wrong, so we can directly select this right one, so no issue. The second kind of dilemma it comes, that is wrong versus wrong. So if both decisions are wrong, then in that case which one to choose? Okay, then the next one, that is given right versus right. Okay, what is next given? Right versus right. If both decisions are right, then in that case which one to choose? Because if one we choose, then the another one we have to hold. So that kind of issues it may come. So that is a question, that which one to choose. Okay, so right versus right. So that is a very big question that we need to select. So wrong versus right, it is okay. So the right one we can select directly. But the problem it arises when both are wrong, both decisions are wrong, or both decisions are right. So how? So that kind of issues we are going to cover here in this session. How we can take better decisions. Responding to these challenges, some scholars have suggested two extreme positions. Okay, some scholars suggested two extreme positions. The first one, it is given ethical absolutism, and the second one it is given ethical relativism. Okay, first it is ethical absolutism and the second it is ethical relativism. So what this ethical absolutism it is? According to this, right and wrong are objective qualities that can be rationally determined. Okay, it means rationally we can determine which one is right and which one is wrong. Example, utilitarianism, theology and deontology. So these are the theories under ethical absolutism that we will cover. Okay, so under this ethical absolutism, so in case of ethical absolutism, we can means there are objectivities. Okay, or you can say there is the presence of objective qualities that can be rationally determined. So what is right and what is wrong? It means by choosing the objective qualities we can decide what is right and what is wrong. And in ethical absolutism we have these theories, that is utilitarianism, theology, deontology. Okay, and the second one that is given, that is ethical relativism. So what is their ethical relativism? Relativists contend that there are no universal rights and wrong. Okay, in case of ethical absolutism, there it was the objective rationality, means rationally we can say that okay, which one it is right and which one it is wrong. Okay, but in case of ethical relativism, there are no universal rights and wrongs. Everything means everything is relative to each other. So that's provides flexibility to ethical decision. So this ethical relativism provides flexibility to ethical decision making, still gives a justification to unethical conduct in the name of ethical relativism. So it gives a flexibility because it says that there are no universal rights and wrong. Everything is comparable. So compared to other, we can say that is right. Okay, compared to another, one is more right, another one is less right. So that kind of thing it happens in case of ethical relativism. So that's why there is more flexibility in this case. Still we cannot say all decisions are right. Okay, so here we can compare, and the one which is more right, okay, means, or you can say more benefits which can give to the people, so that it will be more ethical in case of ethical relativism. Okay, then next you have traditional ethical theories. So two schools of ethical theories here given. The first, there it is given consequentialism, and the second one that is given non-consequentialism. So traditional ethical theories, so first it is consequentialism, that is also known as theology, and the second one is known as here non-consequentialism, that is deontology, that is known as deontology. So now go on one by one to this. First it is theology. So theology, it is the part of consequentialism. So now you see that's here given, that is consequentialism, that is the first. So under that we have theology, or you can say another word for consequentialism, we can use theology. So theological theories are based on the consequences of the moral judgment we make and actions. It means it is based on the consequences of our moral judgments we make. So whatever judgments we make or whatever actions we have already taken, so what kind of consequences come, so on the basis of that we can say what is right and what is wrong. We perform in resolving ethical dilemmas. We use that, means we use consequences to perform or resolve ethical dilemmas. So that's here given telos. So this theology, it came from teleo and logos. So teleo means consequences or purpose, and logos meaning study. It means the study of consequences. It means on the basis of what kind of consequences come, so we can say what is right and what is wrong. So we can overcome the ethical dilemma by the consequences. Second one, that is given deontological theories. So it advocates for moral judgments, action based on our sense of duty and responsibility. So what is wrong and what is right, that is based on our moral judgment. Okay, means that is based on a sense of duty and responsibility. If it is our duty to do something, so that it will decide that is right, and if something is our duty and if we are not doing, then it means that is wrong. So deontological theories are based on duty and responsibility. So that's why here given deont means there it is written duty. Okay, deont means there it is written duty, and logos here it is written study. Okay. Next you have theological ethical systems and consequentialist ethical theories. According to theological so theological and deontology, so these two kinds of conventional theories we studied. So now go into the detail about this. So theological ethical systems or consequentialism ethical theories. So that is theological ethical system. So according to theological ethics, ethical decision making is determined by measuring the probable consequences or outcomes. It means here ethical decision making is determined by by measuring the probable consequences. So means what kind of consequences it may come out, so that it will decide theological ethics, okay, or you can say the ethical decision, you can say. So we can say that a particular decision is ethical on the basis of consequence. So under this theological ethical system or consequentialist ethical theories, we have egoism, utilitarianism, distributive justice. So these three subtopics we will study under theological ethical system. Okay. So these are the parts of teleological ethical system. Now egoism. According to egoism, the decision makers' short-term and long-term interest determine the moral rightness of an action. You see here, according to egoism, the decision makers' short-term and long-term interest, means whatever the short-term and the long-term interest of decision makers, that determines the moral rightness of an action. Adam Smith, who is known as the father of economy. So modern economy, you can say, father of modern economy is Adam Smith. Okay, let me write down here. What is the name of that person? Adam Smith. Okay. Adam Smith reasoned that there should be no moral qualms with the pursuit of self-interest by individuals. The goal of individual self-interest produces morally desirable outcomes for societies through the invisible hand of the marketplace. So what Adam Smith said, he said that people should do or pursue their self-interest goals, and when people pursue self-interest goal, then its outcome, it will be desirable, and this is due to invisible hand of the marketplace. So each and every person in the marketplace is motivated to do something for its own self-interest, then that it will result to morally desirable outcome for the society, and this is due to invisible hand of the marketplace. So that's what Adam Smith said. Proponents of ethical egoism contend that those actions which lead to the greatest good of the greatest number are morally desirable. Okay, the proponents, means those who support this egoism theory, so those said that if any action leads to greatest good of the greatest number, it means that is morally desirable. Okay, so what is morally desirable? So those actions which do greater benefit to greater number of people, so those actions are morally desirable. Then next you have utilitarianism. What is next you have? Utilitarianism. So what it says, human beings tend to follow those actions that give them more pleasure and avoid those that cause him pain. Okay, so that's about utilitarianism. Human beings tend to follow those actions that give them more pleasure and avoid those that cause him pain. Since the utilitarian theory advocates the maximization of pleasure at the societal level, it translates to the objective of achieving the greatest good of the greatest number. Okay, what here it is given? Utilitarian theory advocates the maximization of pleasure of at societal level. It means at societal level, if there is more pleasure, then that is good. So that it here it translates to the objective of achieving the greatest good of the greatest number. So criticism of utilitarianism is that it is impossible to quantify the quality and quantity of pleasure. It means we cannot quantify the pleasure. So that is the first criticism. So that's why we cannot say how much more pleasure, which one it is, means which action results in more pleasure and which action results in less pleasure. Okay, so that kind of quantification we cannot do. The second criticism is that the greatest good of the greatest number can sometimes be interpreted as the tyranny of the majority. Okay, it means greatest good of the greatest number, it means that can be treated as the tyranny of the majority, because there are some interest of the minority, means the people also, means those who are in less number. So what about them? So it means the decisions taken will impact them in a negative way. So that's why you can think this as a tyranny of the majority. That is the second criticism of utilitarianism. Third one given, distributive justice. According to Rawls, ethical actors or decisions are those that lead to an equitable distribution of goods and services. It means if equitable distribution of goods and services are present, then that is ethical. Okay. The criteria for ethical decision making should be distributive justice. Okay, so what given here? Criteria for ethical decision. So whatever the decision one takes, so whether that is ethical or not, so that should be decided by the distributive justice. According to Rawls, it is fair to treat unequal unequally. It means if people are unequal, then treat them unequally. So that's what it is according to distributive justice, and what that person Rawls said. Second one, before this we talked about consequentialism, okay, or theological ethical system. Now the second one, there we have this one, it is, we can think of this one as second one. This is deontological ethical system. So what it states, the deontological ethical system is based on rules, regulations that determine decision making. What is same is deontological ethical system is based on rules and regulations that determine decision making. Okay, here it means whatever it is the ethical decision, so that we can decide on the basis of rules and regulation that determine decision making. If something is according to the rule, so if any action is taken according to the rule, it means that is ethical, and if something is not in accordance with the rule, it means that is not ethical. That's what this deontological ethical system says. Kant believed, so here this is the name of the person, Kant believed that the moral concept of goodwill determines the rightness of an act. What here it is going, the moral concept of goodwill. So goodwill determines the rightness of an act rather than its consequences. Okay. So here given, so goodwill decides the rightness, not the consequences. But in case of theological ethical system, we talked about the consequences. Means consequence decide what is right. But in case of deontological ethical system, goodwill determines the rightness of an action. Kantian idea of the categorical imperative. Okay, what is this Kantian idea? The idea of categorical imperative meant that one should propagate only those principles and take resources to only those actions and thought processes that they, as a rational agent, would prescribe as universal rules and laws. It means that if you think that if you rationally think that something is universal rule and laws, then that should be propagated as ethical. That is the Kantian idea. Another source of deontological ethics is religion. Okay, the first source, it was the rules and regulation and the responsibility, and the second one, it is the religion. So from these sources deontological ethical system came out. So religion, all religions worldwide propagate that the means are always more important than the ends. Here the means are more important, means all religions of the world preach, or you can say tells that means are more important at the end. But in case of theological, it was just opposite. There the end was deciding whether the means, or you can say whether the decision it was right or wrong. But here the emphasis is given on the means, not the ends. Next you have contemporary approaches. What are contemporary approaches? Contemporary approaches of ethical decision, or you can say contemporary approaches of ethics. So the first contemporary approach that is given, feminist ethics. What is given? Feminist ethics. Feminist ethics emphasizes empathy, caring for one another, and avoiding causing harm to others. Okay, what feminist ethics emphasizes? It emphasizes empathy, caring for one another, and avoiding causing harm to others. So if any decision is not harming any other person, it is it is careful, then that you can consider as ethical decision. So that's why here given in the context of business ethics, the feminist theory argues that organizational functional business should be bereft of gender biases, or here you can say in simple word, I can say that whatever there it is the functionality in the organization that should not be gender biased. Feminist ethics theorists underline that relevance of the harmonious relation. What here given? Harmonious relation in organizational functionality do away those stereotypes which stem from a patriarchal approach. Now you see here given harmonious relation. It means it emphasizes harmonious relations in the organization, and this harmonious relation will do away those stereotypes which stem from patriarchal approach. So as opposed to patriarchal approach, the feminist approach is the harmonious relation. Discourse ethics, the second that is given, discourse. So these are the parts of, or you can say types of, a deontological ethical system. The second discourse ethics. Discourse ethics advocates the adoption of norms, adoption of norms only after a thorough and rational reflection of the impact of ethical conflicts on all the relevant stakeholders. It means here rationally we should analyze the impact of ethical conflicts on all other stakeholders, then we should decide on something. So here ethical decision making involves norm generation. It means norms should be generated by the discussion of all stakeholders on a case to case basis, and then according to those norms decisions should be taken. So discourse ethics in managerial decision making seeks to engage external stakeholders like consumer groups, civil society organizations, and government regulatory agencies. It means here according to this discourse ethics in managerial decision making seeks to engage, so it tries to engage with external stakeholders like consumer groups, civil society organizations, and government regulatory. It means by combining these all different groups, we can create a norm, and then on the basis of norm managerial decisions should be taken. Then postmodern perspective that is given. Third one, according to postmodern thinkers, everything is relative. It means everything is relative. This approach views morality as a byproduct of our own emotional impulses. It means morality is what? Emotional byproduct of emotional impulses. It calls for questioning the established norms and practices. Means whatever it is already established, it tries to question those things. So why those decisions are morally good and why other are not that much good? So that kind of moral question, or you can say that kind of questions should be asked. It calls for questioning the established norm. Means whatever norm is established, that okay, according to the norm something is right, so why that is right and why another is not right? Why no one practice is treated as right and another one is treated as wrong? So that kind of questioning should be there. Okay. So postmodernist theorists argue that reality is too complex. What it says, that reality is too complex to be viewed from a singular lens of grand narratives in the form of liberatism. So reality is very complex, so that's why it should not be seen from a singular lens of, so it should be seen, or you can say it should be viewed from different perspectives. So that's what postmodern perspective says. It does not separate the personal from the professional. It means according to this, both personal and professional are same. Means personal ethics and professional ethics should be integrative, not different. So here ethical theories given. The first ethical theories can be categorized into three, that is traditional, contemporary and postmodern. Traditional, here we studied consequential or theological, and under this consequential or theological we studied about egoism, utilitarianism and distributive justice, that is justice as fairness. It means equitable justice. Then the second, contemporary, we studied about the feminist and disclosure, and third one, that was the postmodern approach. Just now we talked, contemporary, it was feminist and discourse theory. Limitation of existing theories. So what are different limitations? So that's what we are going to talk about. Above mentioned theories fail to reflect business situations which are rife with gray areas in decision making. Okay, it means it failed. Means currently whatever the ethical theories are there, so those theories fail to reflect business situation, because business situations are very complex. Some business situations are in the gray area, so those gray areas are not being covered by these existing theories. So that is the ethical theories have limited capacity to capture moral truth. Okay, moral truth means limited capacity to capture moral truth. Third one that is given, economic systems are dynamic with no fixed set of rules. Economic systems are dynamic with no fixed set of rules and regulations, making ethical do's and don'ts cast in stone. My fault. Economic systems are dynamic with no fixed set of rules and regulations, so making ethical do's and don'ts, you can say useless, or you can say sometimes it is not that much effective, because economic systems are dynamic. So the ethical do's and don'ts should also be dynamic. Business ethics going beyond cynicism. So unlike common perception, ethical decision making is an integral part of the managerial agency for the following reason. So following are the reasons due to which we can say ethical decision making is the part and parcel of managerial decision making. So the first given, ethical dilemmas in the world of business are no different from the kind of dilemmas that we face in our daily lives. It means whatever kind of dilemmas we face in the business world, so those dilemmas are just like what we face in our day-to-day life. Okay. Second, given businesses being an integral part of society's functioning, issues like ethics of marketing and advertising, a firm's legal and social obligations are impregnated with the impact of the firm's decision making on society. It means here society business is the integral part of society's functioning. So that's why ethical decision is very important, which are used in issues like ethics of marketing and advertisement, a firm's legal and social obligations. So in simple word we can say ethical decision making impact firm's decision making on society, means how firm make decisions, so that is being impacted. Ethical manager sorry ethical managerial decision making demands a pragmatic approach. What it demands? Pragmatic approach, since humans are not only rational beings but also experience a wide gamut of emotions. So that's why ethical managerial decisions making should be pragmatic, because we have both emotion and experience. Okay, we experience a wide gamut of emotions, so that's why it should be pragmatic. I think that is over. So I think second unit of MMPC-20, that is over. So thank you all. So please like and subscribe for more videos regarding management